Nutrition and health education, importance and the relationship between nutrition, health and education. Dear learners, why do you think you learn about nutrition, health and education? Based on your experience and belief, would you explain the relationship between these issues? We hope that you have explained well. Now let us see the need to learn and the link between the three issues raised before. Many and different types of interventions are commonly quoted when discussing how the lives of people in a certain nation can be improved. Typically, these are measures in the area of infrastructure, production methods, policies, regarding trade, agriculture, etc., environment, and so on. Nutrition education is hardly ever included in such a list. However, looking at the basis of prospering societies, nutrition education, particularly in schools, can indeed contribute significantly to sustainable development in poor countries. Likewise, nutrition and education are closely interlinked. It is commonly understood that good nutrition during childhood is important for healthy growth and development. But in addition to affecting physical growth and maturation, a child's nutritional status also influences a number of factors that are central to the child's educational achievements. Good health and nutrition increase the child's attention span, its learning capacity, and its ability to fully engage in educational experiences. Studies have shown that good health and nutritional status also enhance school enrollment, attendance and retention. Why is nutrition education important? Given the important role of nutrition, health and education for an active society, as described above, interventions that address these factors not only are urgent but they also have the potential to make a major contribution to a country's overall economic and social development. Nutrition education is such an intervention. It provides people with the knowledge, skills and motivation to make wise dietary and lifestyle choices, building thus a strong basis for a healthy and active life. Whether food supplies are scarce or abundant, it is essential that people know how best to use their resources to access a variety of safe and good quality foods. To ensure nutritional well-being. To be food secure and adequately nourished, households need sufficient resources to produce and/or purchase adequate food. In addition, they need the understanding of what constitutes an appropriate diet for health, as well as the skills and motivation to make sound choices on family care and feeding practices. Food and nutrition education thus play a vital role in promoting food security, as it is especially important for poor households to make optimal use of local foods and practice healthy eating patterns. Effective nutrition education is also important for combating the rise in non-communicable, diet-related diseases seen in many countries. Why work through schools? Schools are the natural development zone for nutrition education. They are one of the main social contexts in which lifestyles are developed. Children of school-going age develop behavior through interaction with other pupils, teachers, parents, siblings and peer groups. They are influenced by their homes, their communities, the mass media and the school. Thus the school is part of a network of influences which shape eating patterns and attitudes. Schools are also ideal settings for promoting healthy eating, for many other reasons. They reach most children, for a number of years, on a regular basis. They have a mandate to guide young people towards maturity. Given the vital role of nutrition in a healthy, fulfilled life, nutrition education is part of this responsibility. They have qualified personnel to teach and guide. They reach children at a critical age when eating habits and attitudes are being established. They provide opportunities to practice healthy eating and food safety in school feeding programs, and through the sale of food on their premises. They can establish school policies and practices, for example, sanitation facilities, rules about hand washing, that can improve health and nutrition. They spread the effect by involving families in their children's nutrition education. They can be a channel for community participation, for example via school garden projects or school canteens, or through local intersectoral committees. They can provide cost-effective nutrition interventions, other than education. Primary schools are particularly suitable vehicles for nutrition education. They catch children younger, when their habits are still being formed. They reach a larger proportion of the population, in particular girls, who tend to leave school earlier. Moreover, nutrition lessons are simple, interesting, colorful and easily learned by demonstration, illustration, example and practical action, approaches which are natural to primary education. A good diet, dear learners, based on the knowledge you gained in biology. What is food? How can we label a diet to be good or balanced? We know food is essential for life, but what food? Most people eat because they feel hungry. Hunger tells them to eat, but it does not tell them what to eat. What is a good diet? Some of our ideas about what a good diet is have to do with the quantity and quality of the food it contains. For example, that there should be enough food and it should be nutritious and safe. But there is much more to the concept of a good diet. To obtain the full range of nutrients we need, we must also consume a good variety of foods every day. It is also important that we enjoy the food we eat and find it socially acceptable. This too will keep us healthy. Basic terms to remember: diet is the food that a person normally eats every day. Malnutrition is an incorrect or unbalanced intake of nutrients. Undernutrition means an insufficient total intake of nutrients. Balanced diet is a diet that provides the correct amount, variety, of nutrients for the needs of an individual. Why we need food: what would happen to us if we don't have or eat a balanced food? Food is essential for life. To be healthy and well-nourished, we must consume a variety of nutritious, safe foods. Without adequate nutrition, children and young people cannot develop their potential to the full, and adults will experience difficulty in maintaining or expanding theirs. We must also consume the right amount of food. We can become unhealthy if we do not eat enough food, or not enough different kinds of food, or if we consume too much food. Too much food causes our body to store too much fat, and can increase the risk of chronic diseases such as obesity, heart problems and diabetes. But what exactly does food do for us? Food provides us with the energy we need for growth, physical activity, and the basic body functions: breathing, temperature control, blood circulation and digestion. It also gives us the materials we need to build and maintain our bodies and to protect them from disease. These different functions are made possible by the nutrients contained in food. These are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Fiber, or roughage, and clean water are also needed for a good diet. We need large amounts of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. This is why they are called macronutrients, and much smaller amounts of minerals and vitamins, the micronutrients. Some of these occur in quantities so tiny that we cannot see them, but without them our body systems would not work properly. Activity: by the facilitation of your teacher, contact biology teacher or food and sanitation expert in your area and do the following questions and reflecting classes. 1. What is nutrition? 2. What food sorts can provide us the different forms of nutrients? 3. List food items that are rich in carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Fiber, or roughage. 4. How one can make his/her diet to be nutritious. Nutrients and their functions. Dear learner, from your past experience, what sort of nutrients our body needs to function well? What is the function of these nutrients? Most farmers know that crops need certain nutrients in order to grow well. Plants obtain these nutrients from the soil, or sometimes from fertilizers. In the same way, people need certain types and quantities of nutrients from their diets, from the time a baby is conceived and throughout life. Each type of nutrient has particular function. 1. Carbohydrates and fats, macronutrients, are the main sources of food energy. About 50% of the carbohydrates and fats in the body are burned, or broken down, to produce the energy the body needs to perform different physical activities. The rest are used by the body for growth and general maintenance, and the renewal of its tissues. Fats are a particularly concentrated source of energy and contain 2 times as much energy as carbohydrates and proteins. Fats are also needed to help the body absorb and use some vitamins, especially vitamin A. 2. Proteins are needed to build and maintain muscle, blood, skin, organs, and bones and other tissues. They are the primary building blocks of the body. Proteins are therefore especially important for children, and pregnant and lactating women. Proteins, in the form of enzymes and hormones, are also essential for some basic body functions. 3. Vitamins and minerals, micronutrients, are needed in smaller amounts than proteins, fats and carbohydrates, but they are essential for good nutrition. They help the body work properly and stay healthy. They help to repair tissue, and ensure children's healthy growth, mental development and protection from infection. Some minerals also make up part of the body's tissues. For example, calcium and fluoride are found in bones and teeth, and iron is found in the blood. Some of these essential micronutrients, for example vitamin A, iron and iodine, are often lacking in malnourished children. 4. Fibers. Roughage. Roughage prevents constipation, cancer of the colon, and reduces risks of heart diseases. How does that happen? Fiber-rich foods retain water, resulting in softer and bulkier stools that prevent constipation and hemorrhoids. A high-fiber diet also reduces the risk of colon cancer, most likely by speeding the rate at which stool passes through the intestine and by keeping the digestive tract clear of any cancer-causing agent. In addition, fibers bind with certain substances that would normally result in the production of cholesterol and eliminates these substances from the body. In this way, a diet rich in fiber helps lower blood cholesterol levels, reducing the risk of heart disease. Fibers are found in whole grains, for example bran cereal, dried beans, fresh fruits, and green vegetables, especially when eaten raw with their skins. 5. Water. Water plays a vital role in all body functions, including metabolism, reactions inside our bodies. Water is found in foods such as soup, fresh fruits, and vegetables, as well as juices, milk, meat, drinking water, and other beverages. Water is a good solvent for many chemicals. Hence it is used in the transportation of many substances, and in many chemical reactions happening inside the body. It helps in carrying oxygen, nutrients from the foods we eat, and carbon dioxide and other waste products through the body cells. It also transports hormones and enzymes. Water acts as a cushion to protect body organs and participates in the lubrication of the joints. Your eyes are kept wet by water when you blink, preventing them from becoming dry. Water makes skin soft and prevents it from drying and cracking. Water also keeps the body temperature normal. When it is hot, for example, we find ourselves sweating. Water plays an essential role in making the brain and other organ functions work better. In summary, your entire body, organs and cells, needs water and is made mainly of water. All of us need all of these nutrients all of the time for all our body processes. Dietary needs, the need for variety. What are the conclusions for our diet? First, the best way to make sure that we obtain all the nutrients we need is to eat a variety of different foods. This is why diversity in our diets is so important for good health. Second, it is clear that there is not just one good diet. Our food energy and nutrient needs can be met with a range of different foods, that is, with many different, culturally appropriate, healthy diets. Even if we eat enough food to meet our energy needs, we can still be unhealthy if we do not eat the right kinds of different foods we need. The best way to make sure that we obtain all the nutrients we need is therefore to eat a variety of different foods. We need a variety of foods to be healthy and grow. Different groups have different needs, different people need different kinds and amounts of food. People need more food if they are growing, or helping others to grow, for example infants, children and pregnant and breastfeeding mothers. They need more food if they work and play hard. And they may need more food if they are sick. The most critical stage of human development is from conception to about 3 years of age, a period when physical growth occurs most rapidly. Pregnant women need additional food of good quality to meet the nutrient needs of a growing fetus. Lactating mothers require additional energy and nutrients to produce enough milk for a small child. Small children need to receive the right amount of nutritious food in order to ensure proper growth, brain development and resistance to infection. A child under 1 year of age, for example, requires almost twice the amount of energy per kilogram of body weight as a teenager or adult. When breast milk given alone becomes insufficient for healthy, normal growth, at about 6 months of age. Young children must be given foods that have a high concentration of nutrients. This is particularly important because children at this age have very small stomachs and can take in only limited quantities of food at a time. Frequent feeding, 4 to 5 times a day, with foods, in addition to breast milk, ensures that children obtain sufficient energy and nutrients to grow normally and stay healthy. Mothers should continue breastfeeding on demand until children are 18 months to 2 years of age. All growing children, including school children, have big food needs but small stomachs. They therefore need to eat frequently, at least 3 times a day, with snacks in between. Older people, like everyone else, need a good diet that provides for all their nutrient needs. They have some special problems. If they are unfit and take very little exercise, they may need less energy and may therefore eat less food. This means they may also obtain less micronutrients, even though they need just as many as they would if they were active. If they have lost a lot of teeth, or have gum problems, they may find it difficult to chew ordinary foods. Diets for older people should therefore be particularly rich in micronutrients. Their foods should be easy to eat if there is a problem with their teeth. Sick people often have no appetite and eat only small amounts. They may be malnourished. Diarrhea adds to the problem. Up to half the food taken in can be lost. When people have infectious diseases, the need for certain nutrients is even greater than normal. Sick people need a diet which is appealing, not too bulky, and particularly rich in micronutrients and protein. Individual needs are often not recognized in a household, sometimes because of social patterns, sometimes because people don't have time to spare, and sometimes because people can't or won't speak out. In some societies, men eat first, in the greatest quantities and apart from others, while women and children eat what's left. In some families, parents have to go out early to work and leave children to fend for themselves. These may be difficult, culturally sensitive issues, but they must be tackled if they affect children's health and growth, which they often do. Impacts of lack of balanced food. What happens if people do not have a healthy diet? The effects are not only physical, but mental, social and economic. Inadequate diet in infants and young children slows down or stops growth, weakens the body and impedes intellectual development. Children who do not have healthy diet are to be malnutritioned. Various terms are used when talking about malnutrition. Malnutrition is a general term covering health disorders caused by insufficient or excessive intake of nutrients and food energy. It includes overnutrition as well as undernutrition. Hunger describes the physiological and psychological unease caused by lack of food. It is a subjective phenomenon. The term is occasionally also used to refer to the state of insufficient overall food intake of entire population groups. Undernutrition is any condition caused by a lack of nutrients and food energy. Undernutrition can be further subdivided according to the specific nutrient lacking, for example protein energy malnutrition, PEM, or specific nutrient deficiencies. In the real world, PEM commonly occurs in combination with some kind of micronutrient deficiency. Children with severe malnutrition are probably not in school, they will be too weak to attend, or often sick. But there may be others who are suffering from mild malnutrition, or who are just beginning to show the effects. Teachers should look for these signs. Learning behavior, lack of concentration, poor memory, difficulty understanding, skipping homework, falling behind with work. Other behavior, frequent absences, shyness, unsociability, restlessness, irritability. Once teachers are aware of potential problems, they can be sentinels and mediators and can alert other players, parents, community health workers and the children themselves. Raising teachers' awareness and making monitoring effective is something which individual schools need to explore, if there are real problems of malnutrition among its children. Health and sanitation, various infectious diseases, in particular diarrheal and respiratory diseases, measles, malaria, intestinal parasites and HIV/AIDS, have a major impact on nutritional status. Poor sanitation multiplies the risk of disease considerably. A person suffering from an infectious disease in general has little appetite and tends to eat less. For people who are already malnourished, this is a serious threat, as there are no body reserves to compensate. At the same time, infectious diseases also increase the need for many nutrients, particularly protein, which is an essential element of the body's immune system. If there is diarrhea, it means that nutrients are not absorbed exactly when they are needed most. Up to half the food eaten can be lost. This is what is called the vicious circle of malnutrition. Infections aggravate malnutrition, and poor nutrition aggravates the infection. So dealing with malnutrition may also mean dealing with major endemic diseases. In its turn, this may mean dealing with poor sanitation and hygiene, which are major factors in the spread of infections. Knowledge and care. Malnutrition can occur even in a household with an adequate income, adequate nutritious food, and access to sanitation and health services. In themselves, these factors will not bring about improvements in nutrition unless households are able to take advantage of them. For this they need sufficient knowledge and the ability to care of vulnerable individuals. Care consists of the time, attention and support provided in the community and in the household to meet the physical, mental and social needs of growing children and other family members. In the developing world, this care is mainly provided by mothers and daughters rather than fathers. Care includes understanding the differing nutritional needs of household members, making the right decisions about what foods to prepare and serve for each member, how much food to prepare. The caregiver must also have enough time for child care, food preparation and child feeding. In many developing countries, women are the main household food producers and caregivers. They also have many other responsibilities, such as fetching water and firewood, and storing, processing and marketing food. During peak seasons of agricultural activity, when women are at work all day, there is often the danger that children's needs for care, proper food and frequent feeding will not be adequately met. Knowledge matters too, and is related to established social practices and ideas of social status. Sometimes suitable foods are available but not consumed, because people do not recognize their food value. Some excellent foods have low social status. The importance of variety and balance in the diet may be unknown. Parents often think that if children feel full, they are well fed. But they may be full of food of low nutritional value that is missing essential nutrients. On top of that, wherever there are scarce resources, there may be problems of distribution. Often children and women come last in status and get the smallest share of the family food, with full social approval. Health and healthy lifestyle. Concept of health and disease. Dear learners, before indulging into your reading, would you once try to think of the following questions? When you think of health, what first comes to mind? Do you think, for example, of a clinic, a good meal, recreation, disease, happiness? How do you recognize health? When you think of a healthy or an unhealthy child, what do you see? Good teeth, a happy disposition, energy, fatigue, weakness? What is health? Who is healthy person to you? When a person is said to be unhealthy. In looking at what health is and how you recognize it, you may think of prevention, for example inoculation, physical signs, like skin color or vaccination scars, or simply the absence of disease. I don't feel sick, so I must be healthy. Perhaps the psychological aspects of health also come to mind, for example, a bright happy child is healthy, but a listless depressed one is not. Or you may think of a person's relations with others and a social idea of health. Once we begin to look at health, we start to move away from a purely medical idea to a wider conception. The WHO definition of health reflects the wide concept of health, as shown below. Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. WHO Ottawa Charter. Playing together, choosing healthy food, participating in social and cultural activities, are all signs and causes of health and well-being. Feeling a part of the life of the community is important in maintaining self-esteem, happiness, and a sense of well-being. Conversely, alienation and isolation from the community and its life and customs can lead to physical, mental and social ill health. This wider concept of health has many consequences for the principles and practice of nutrition, education, and it is important that those involved in education agree on its validity. It means, for example, that we will never think of nutrition only from a scientific and biological point of view, as a matter of calories and vitamins, but rather as a social and personal concept too. Fundamental conditions for health. Of course, health is not always within our control, it depends on many factors. Some of these are fundamental: peace, shelter, education, income, gender equity, a stable ecosystem and sustainable resources, WHO. To these we can add a stable economy, good sanitation and health facilities, an absence of endemic disease and, of course, food variety and safe food. In any society, some of these fundamental conditions may be lacking or inadequate, and this will affect the health of individuals and communities, physically, mentally and socially. For example, a civil war can threaten people's lives, cut off essential supplies, and destroy jobs. It also creates fear and anxiety and threatens mental well-being, in the short term and in the long term. It disrupts infrastructure, for example, hospitals, roads, food supplies, and undermines social relations, trust, cooperation, and shared beliefs are compromised. An economic crisis can do the same. Similarly, in many communities today, HIV/AIDS is disrupting not only individual lives but also the very fabric of society. When we think about health and nutrition education in our own regions, we therefore need to start by asking what factors are damaging our children's prospects for health, and what role education can play in remedying them. Healthy lifestyle. We have expanded the idea of health to include mental and social factors. We also looked at the preconditions for health and factors. Now we turn to the area that can be influenced by individuals, their own personal behavior. In most people's lives there is a mixture of healthy, unhealthy and potentially unhealthy behavior, both conscious and unconscious. These behaviors together make up the person's health lifestyle. Examples of unhealthy or potentially unhealthy lifestyles are alcohol abuse, smoking and physical inactivity. Sexual behavior which can result in HIV infection, other sexually transmitted diseases, or unintended pregnancy, is another example of an unhealthy lifestyle. Similarly, disturbed social relationships, feelings of inadequacy and stress also affect health negatively. On a positive note, keeping your body in shape, eating well and avoiding drug abuse contribute to a healthy lifestyle. So do good personal relationships and feelings of confidence and success, and activities which give a sense of belonging to the community. These behaviors are all part of our expanded definition of good health. Health is not the result of any single factor, or indeed of a single medical treatment. One of the contributing factors is a person's health lifestyle, the sum of an individual's health-related behavior. If we are interested in creating, changing or improving behavior in both the short and long term, as we are in nutrition education, this concept is crucial. We will direct our teaching towards lifestyle, not just knowledge, and judge our success by developments in behavior and attitude, not just by performance in scholastic tests. Remembering the WHO's wider definition of health, we can describe a healthy lifestyle as physical, what we can do with our bodies to achieve well-being; mental, what we can do with our minds to achieve well-being; social, what we can do with others to achieve well-being, for ourselves, for society or for the environment. On the other hand, health depends on healthy lifestyles. Healthy eating is one part of healthy lifestyles. What is healthy eating? Healthy eating is not just about what you eat. Healthy eating is part of a healthy lifestyle. It is a set of behaviors and attitudes which contribute to health, one's own and that of others. These behaviors and attitudes have to do with eating habits, food production, shopping, preserving food, preparing food and distributing it within the family, food hygiene, and ideas and feelings about food. In this definition of healthy eating, nutrition education would deal with, for example, getting into the habit of eating a good breakfast, knowing where to buy good food cheaply, enjoying preparing food, learning about food values, teaching one's little sister to wash her hands before eating. Dietary deficiency diseases: when we do not take in food in the correct proportion and of the right type, we suffer from deficiency diseases. Deficiency diseases are caused by malnutrition. Malnutrition may arise when an organism does not get sufficient amounts of some types of foods or has an excess of one or more nutrients. Even in industrialized countries, people suffer the effects of improper diet. For example, overconsumption of highly refined foods or foods with high fat content or low dietary fiber can result in obesity, heart disease, digestive disorders, and reduced life expectancy. In developing countries, malnutrition and undernourishment led to weakened immune systems and pose many serious health problems. The following table outlines the causes and symptoms of some of the major diseases caused by malnutrition. Activity: in order to make your study successful, do the following questions. 1. In your own words, explain what health and healthy lifestyles. 2. As would-be teachers, how would you promote healthy life on your students? 3. As WHO, how is a person to be labeled as healthy? Why is knowledge of care and sanitation important to teachers? Mention some of the major diseases caused by different food deficiencies. Unit summary: this unit has been dealing with issues of importance of nutrition and health education, importance of having balanced diet and its impact on health and education. It has discussed how schools can recognize malnutrition and what can be done about it in the short term. It looks at the complex impacts of malnutrition and how these can be tackled. What impact education can have. Why it is so important to learn about healthy nutrition at school. To sum up, a healthy diet can be based on local eating patterns, using locally available foods and respecting local eating customs. A healthy diet regularly includes a variety of foods from different food groups. Meets the needs for food, energy, nutrients and meal frequency of all groups of people. Is safe: there are no risks from toxins, mold, chemicals, dirty hands. can be enjoyed and approved by all, that is in line with cultural values and social norms. Is sufficient all year round. At any time of year people are able to feed themselves well. Finally, we have looked at the expanded concepts of health and healthy lifestyle, involving psychological and social well-being and behavior, in addition to physical well-being and behavior. It suggests that nutrition education, which aims at healthy living, must be seen as lifestyle learning.